All right, let's just dive right in. 2026 is shaping up to be an absolutely massive turning point for how we communicate, how we build businesses, and literally how we interact with technology. Today's explainer breaks down a highly specific alignment in Vedic astrology that our sources point to as the primary catalyst for this shift, the 2026 Gemini Stellium. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur looking for an edge, a creative wanting to expand your reach, or you really just want to understand the underlying currents of the next few years, this forecast is incredibly revealing. We're going to translate these cosmic concepts into highly practical, actionable insights you can actually use. So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the cosmic setup. Then we'll dive into the business forecast. Next is life, love, and learning. And finally, we'll wrap up with the winners and challenges. Let's go!
Starting off with Section 1, the cosmic setup, understanding the planetary recipe.
To really grasp this forecast and why these massive changes in commerce and tech are on the horizon, we've got to understand the engine driving it. Our sources point to a stellium. Now, in Vedic astrology, a stellium is just a concentration of multiple planets hanging out in one single sign. For 2026, we're talking about the Sun, Mercury, and Venus all packing into Gemini, and that concentration, it's absolutely crucial. Gemini is already all about communication, learning, and networking, right? But when you jam three major celestial bodies into it, it acts like a giant amplifier. It takes that natural Gemini energy and turns what would normally be a gentle breeze of information into an absolute hurricane of commerce and connection.
Think of this as our cosmic recipe. We've got three totally distinct planets bringing their own unique flavor to the mix. First up, the Sun. The Sun brings visibility, meaning your ideas and exactly how you communicate them are what's going to get you noticed. Then you've got Mercury, which actually rules Gemini, so it is right at home here. Mercury is going to completely supercharge the intellect, accelerating learning, business, and networking. And finally, we toss in Venus, which adds this incredible layer of charm, creativity, and social popularity. Essentially, a recipe for success in media and storytelling. You mix those three together, you get a wildly potent energy.
So what's the big picture here? Well, this 2026 alignment heavily favors ideas, connections, adaptability, and incredibly rapid information exchange. Things are gonna move fast. If you're the kind of person who thrives on adapting on the fly and connecting dots quickly, this cosmic weather report says you are heading into a very favorable climate.
Moving right along to Section 2, the business forecast, the rise of the digital communicator. All right. Now that we understand the energy, let's talk about how this actually impacts your professional life and the world of commerce. Our sources lay out 5 major business predictions for this period. Number 1, communication literally becomes the ultimate currency. If you can write, speak, teach, or market effectively, you're going to find massive opportunities. Number 2, networking is going to open major doors. We're talking growth coming directly from your online communities and collaborations. 3, digital businesses are just going to thrive. 4, expect a massive spike in overall business deals. And 5, young entrepreneurs and content creators who really leverage their personal branding, they are going to see incredible visibility. The big takeaway here is that your ability to articulate your ideas is about to become your single most valuable asset.
Building on that digital boom, let's look at some specific sectors. Because Gemini rules the flow of information, that prediction about digital businesses thriving gets really specific. The sources are predicting a massive surge in artificial intelligence, content creation, digital marketing, and e-commerce. Think about it. These are industries that rely entirely on processing and exchanging information at lightning speed. This 2026 energy is basically rocket fuel for these specific tech and digital fields.
There's a quote from the source material that I absolutely love, and it says, "Mercury's influence can stimulate contracts, negotiations, partnerships, sales activity, and commercial transactions." I love this because it grounds all this astrology in hard, tangible business reality. We're not just talking about people chatting more on social media here. This is fundamentally about closing deals. It's about sales, signing contracts, and forming real, lucrative partnerships. The economic wheels are quite literally expected to spin much faster during this stellium.
Let's pivot slightly to Section 3, Life, Love, and Learning. Upgrades in personal development and connections.
Stepping out of the boardroom for a second, your personal day-to-day life is also going to speed up significantly. We're looking at 4 key personal upgrades. First, learning goes into overdrive. You're going to feel this intense inspiration to grab a new certification, learn a language, or just pick up some new technical skills. Second, creative expression completely flourishes, especially things like writing, design, and media. Remember that Venus influence we talked about earlier? That's Venus at work. Third, expect a spike in travel and mobility. Gemini governs short journeys, so think more commuting, quick business trips, or maybe even planning a relocation. And fourth, our relationships are going to shift to become way more mental and conversational.
And that brings us to this really fascinating shift in relationship dynamics. The new attraction in 2026 is going to heavily prioritize intellectual compatibility. Who you are drawn to will increasingly depend on shared interests, witty banter, stimulating conversation, and humor, rather than just purely emotional or sentimental factors. Basically, if you want to really connect with someone during this period, you've got to engage their mind first.
Finally, let's look at Section 4, Winners and Challenges, Who benefits and what to avoid.
So who has the natural advantage here? Astrologers expect certain folks to feel a much stronger, more positive effect from the stellium. If you have Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius placements, or if you're rocking a strong Mercury or Venus in your natal chart, you are considered a potential winner here. And the reason is pretty simple. These air element signs already naturally resonate with themes of communication, intellect, and networking. They are already fluent in the exact language that the universe is going to be broadcasting in come 2026.
But it's not all smooth sailing. There's a really vital contrast we need to look at. On the positive side, yes, we have massive opportunities: communication mastery, rapid business growth, networking success, and quick technology adoption. But on the flip side, the challenges are no joke. We're talking severe overthinking, constant distractions, total information overload, and falling into the trap of superficial connections and excess multitasking. Because things are moving so unbelievably fast, the dark side of this Gemini energy is a scattered, frantic mind. It's a stern warning, really. If you try to do everything, you're going to end up accomplishing absolutely nothing.
And that leads us straight into the ultimate pitfall of the 2026 Gemini Stellium. Having too many opportunities, too many ideas, and too many messages coming at you will inevitably create massive confusion unless you manage your priorities carefully. The sheer volume of data and interaction could literally be paralyzing. Information overload is, for sure, the biggest risk here. The secret to actually thriving in 2026 isn't just about absorbing more information, it's about ruthless prioritization. You have to focus your attention only on what actually matters.
Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. You've seen the blueprint. You know the exact energy that's coming. This massive, unprecedented acceleration of ideas, tech, and commerce. So the question is, in a year entirely ruled by information, will you prepare right now to become a master communicator, or are you going to fall victim to information overload? Take these insights, get your priorities straight, and get ready to harness this fascinating 2026 energy. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this helps you navigate all the exciting changes ahead.